Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday the 25th of March. So this time with sound then. Okay, so looking at, actually before I look at the euro dollar, just a brief overview in terms of what was going on a bit yesterday. Well, we saw the data coming out, and pretty much as expected, the market ignored it. There was some really, actually some of the production figures were better than expected, but the services data all fell through the floor. So pretty much again as expected. So well, I say as expected, it wasn't quite as estimated, but that's what it did. So no one felt, in the current circumstances, no one took hardly any notice of it, and it made little difference. What did make a difference yesterday was the US. I don't know if they actually finally agreed it, but they were looking like they were going to vote. Yep, they did. The Senate did reach agreement on the stimulus plan there. So again, US stimulus plan, that's all done and dusted now, so that's another thing out of the way. So should help the equity markets, and it did. Anyway, before then, let's carry on with this euro. Maybe the fourth down the row on the upside, we'll see. At the moment, looking okay. It yesterday ran just through the weekly pivot a little bit. Found a bit of resistance there, rolled, but maybe having another shot at it this morning. Break of that weekly pivot, and those yesterday's highs may see us push through that 4-hourly 50. We'll see. It's around about the same level, or maybe around about the same level by the time it gets there, unless it shoots up quickly this morning. If it can break that level, we'll see. If it can break it, maybe one for the 200, and maybe eventually that weekly R1. So it could be some further upside, but it's slow. It's a slow climb backwards, isn't it, at the moment? Looking here down the hourly point of view, we're nice and clearly through the daily pivot at the moment, but it's as I say, it is a bit slow. Break of that 60-minute 50 sort of area. There's a trend line that runs right away from the lows here across those. Break of that would see it most likely come back to the S1 area, particularly yesterday's lows there, maybe even the S1. Excuse me. So possibly a bit of a correction back to that side, but heading okay-ish at the moment, he says. So let's have a look at the pound. Well, the pound managed to put a good up day yesterday and closed towards the end. Closed up pretty much. Finally got back to that weekly pivot this morning. Just done it. It's near that 4-hourly 50 as well. Whether we'll be able to push on through here, we'll see. The 4-hour 50 on its own may just stall things. Looking from a 60-minute point of view, well, it's yesterday was just a trudge with many hours sitting there, hardly doing anything. Most of the good action moved pre-London market there. Most of the London market was in a tight old range. Eventually, it's plodded through the Asian session here. Again with this, it may just carry on plodding. If it starts breaking through, there's a trend line down here, it breaks that trend line. I mean, the amount of times it sort of tapped and found support on that trend line, it could roll a little bit more. That daily pivot would be my target if it does start breaking that level on the pound. Okay, dollar yen. Well, see where the other markets have managed to sort themselves out. The yen has really only gone back into where it was or what it was doing pretty much before, right up until mid-Feb there. We were sort of in this sort of gradual weakening, winding down of positions in the yen, and well, I think they've been wound out now, and well, we're only really back to where it was going now. So, well, at the moment it just looks soft, and against the dollar looks strong here, and the dollar could just keep on pushing up. We are in this funny old pattern here, which is obviously seen an area of supply of the dollar, but that too could be soon out the way. We could be pushing on beyond 112 there. Do I want to day trade it? Not really. It's if the other markets are pushing up, why isn't this pushing down is a sort of a question, and maybe it'll do it in a chunk, but there is that sort of, as I say, a bit of an unwinding, a bit of a continuation to where it was. Aussie dollar, good solid day yesterday again, ran into its daily 8, didn't flinch really, and it's pushed through that in the moment. Again, it's one of these markets that's seeing some sort of benefits. There's calls out there for oil nations to reduce their production a little bit and help bring the price back. We'll see what happens there. That could help Australia amongst others. It's higher lows, higher highs come through there. Yesterday it spent a lot of time around that 4 hourly 50 struggling. It's broken that now, and seems to be on its way, but again it may just be topping a bit for a while. We'll see how these markets work out this morning. As soon as I say, well, it seems to be on its way, they seem to roll over. It's not, I mean, again, yet like the pound yesterday, it had a lot of time just chopping around, quite range bound there. There are quite a few points within that range, but all the same, it's a choppy one. Is it going to push up? You're sort of thinking in the earlier stage, but after that move in the first place, didn't look like it. But it starts pushing up, then it rolls again, and it is very bitty and difficult to read. In the bigger scheme of things, yep, it's tracking up there, and if you've got a big swing on it, maybe it's got some potential. It would be my favourite one, but it's got potential. The Canadian dollar here, maybe on the discussions of nations getting together and cutting oil production, we'll see, might have helped a little bit, but that too has recovered a little bit against the US dollar here. It's heading at the moment back towards that weekly pivot. Maybe it can do it. It struggled, but maybe it can do it. Looking down the time frame here, it's lower highs, lower lows in this 60-minute time frame, and well, it may be pushing up for now, but at some stage, once again, it may roll over. Already through the daily pivot itself, S1, it's not one I'd fancy to be trading to the short side. Just don't trust it. So, but it's more for where it's going in bigger picture here. So that's pretty much it. News-wise today, I don't think it's going to make a lot of difference, but we do. We've already had inflation out at 7 AM this morning for the pound, which 7 AM, okay, that was out early for some reason. And 7:02 released, maybe accidentally released, or the initial result. Okay, short source rescheduling. So there we are. It's been rescheduled to that time. So 1.7% there inflation. It's not dreadful at the moment, but it may well become dreadful. We'll see. In fact, some of the inflation may have been pushed up because the idiots bulk buying out there. So some of the products there will have certainly lost all their sale prices. So that's that. 9 o'clock then, German final IFO business climate. I don't think any of those and core durable goods later are going to be in any contention of moving these markets. So have a great day. I'll speak to you in the morning. Bye for now.